Hey, what's up guys? Joker here, and I hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend. Today we're going to be getting fired back into everything with some tech news, as I wanted to talk to you about what is going to be the most powerful AMD gaming laptop ever made, and also one of the more powerful ones we've seen in a long time in respect with comparison to Intel and NVIDIA-based laptops. It's really been a long time coming that we've gotten an AMD laptop as powerful as what Acer is going to be releasing with their upcoming Helios 500. Now, if you remember last week, I talked about going out to the Next Acer event, which I go to every year. It's called Next at Acer. They run one every year, and this is my third year in a row going to them in New York City. Always a good time, get to see a lot of products. Last year they showed off the 4K 144Hz monitors, which I was hoping to see this year again. Maybe some updates on those and maybe some new displays, ultra-wides and things like that. But the main focus really was on laptops and some pre-built systems. And during the show, they showed off the Helios 500, which, to be honest, when I first saw it, I wasn't all that excited about it because during the presentation, they didn't mention anything about AMD whatsoever. They didn't mention Vega, they didn't mention Ryzen. All they talked about was Intel CPU and also the GTX 1070 from NVIDIA. So that was really their main focus. They talked about G-Sync. They talked about having 144Hz support and all that, which is all good and all, but, you know, to be honest, it really wasn't that much of a difference between some of the laptops that we saw last year. Still running the GTX 1070, that's still the main architecture from NVIDIA. It was really just kind of an upgrade to the CPU, some of the aesthetics, and also adding in 144Hz G-Sync support. So right off the bat, really wasn't all that excited about it, although now, over on their website, if you go over here and look and see, and you scroll down, you can see that they're actually going to be offering two variants. So they're going to have the GTX 1070 model, which I mentioned, but they're also going to have one with AMD Radeon RX Vega 56. Now, we don't have any specs on, you know, what the clock speed or anything is going to be like that, but it's Vega 56, so it's got to be 56 compute units, otherwise it's not Vega 56. So that's awesome that we're going to see Vega inside of a laptop. Now, because they got G-Sync on the NVIDIA one, they're also going to have FreeSync if you pick up the Vega 56 model. And when it comes to the CPU, as a content creator, this is where it gets even more exciting for me because they're going to have the Ryzen 7 2700 CPU, a full-size desktop Ryzen CPU inside of the Helios 500. On the Intel side, they're running the i9 8950HK, which is a 6-core 12-threaded CPU, which is, you know, good from Intel, but to be honest, as a content creator, like I said, I'd rather have the Ryzen 2700, and, you know, being also, this is all going to be also going to be 144 Hertz. It's going to have FreeSync, like I said, and everything. So, really impressive looking specs. And then you pair that up with Vega 56. This is going to be an absolute monster of a laptop. Now, we don't have any official pricing yet on the Ryzen and Vega version of this, although they do already have the Intel and NVIDIA version, which is starting at $2,000. That's for the 1080p version, which is the 144 Hertz. Although they did say they were also going to be doing 4K 60 Hertz versions of this, which I'm assuming are going to be a little bit more expensive, maybe a few $100s or so. So definitely not a cheap laptop. But yeah, just the fact that it's going to have Ryzen and Vega 56, I thought was really cool, and I cannot wait until they make those available and we get some more pricing information on them so that we can test them on the channel. Now, one of my biggest concerns about this is going to be heat, obviously, as they're going to be using a full-size desktop Ryzen CPU and Vega 56 inside of a small laptop enclosure, and Vega 56 gets pretty damn hot. So whether or not they're going to be able to keep that cool or not remains to be seen. Hopefully they are, and we don't really see any thermal throttling. They did talk about their thermal design during the presentation last week, and they had this to say.
Cooling always comes first. With our Airblade 3D technology, these fans are ultra thin, all metal. There's 59 bladed fans. We've always cared about keeping throttling to an absolute minimum. And so for every Predator laptop, we make sure that it has this technology inside.
And in fact, we pay a lot of attention on our thermal technology. Again, allow me to repeat myself. I come from semiconductor background. I do understand performance and thermal trade-off. So when we do a good job in our thermal, the performance gets better.
Definitely.
So as you heard there, thermal efficiency is certainly something that they are trying to keep in check and make sure things like thermal throttling aren't introduced on any of their laptops, let alone when you see Vega and Ryzen put inside of the same enclosure. So yeah, just like pricing and all the other specs and information, the only time is going to really tell us the full story on this. I will try to get in touch with one of my contacts over there and see if we can get some more information on when these are going to be available, actual pricing and all of that. And of course, if I can get one here to test on the channel, we will do so. And I'm confident that we can probably make that happen. Hopefully these become available really soon, because I think they are probably one of the most exciting laptop announcements that we've seen in some time. This is going to be a fairly thick laptop though, as it is the Helios 500, which is kind of a sidestep from what they used to do with the Predator the Predator 17Xs. So that was with their really thick, chunky, full-size like gaming laptops, not like a slim laptop or anything like that. But they did do the Triton 700, which came out last year, which was awesome. It had a lot of power. I used one of these back at CES, and those were relatively slim as well. I would love to see them maybe put these specs, the Ryzen 2700, along with Vega, or even if it's not Vega, I mostly want the Ryzen CPU in a laptop, and put that into a new version of the Triton 700. That would be absolutely amazing to see that happen. Now, the next article of news I wanted to quickly discuss is Battlefield 5 and the official minimum PC requirements. These were just revealed earlier today. We don't have the recommended requirements or what's expected to run this game in Ultra, but the minimum requirements do seem fairly modest at least, and probably not going to be all that demanding. I mean, like Battlefront 2, despite being an absolute shit show, was very well optimized and ran fantastically. Battlefield 1, also the same, very well optimized and able to run on a wide array of hardware. So for Battlefield 5, the upcoming World War II shooter, which we're expecting to see later this year in October, they are saying for the processor, you're going to want to have an AMD FX 6350 or a Core i5 6600K. So going back a few generations shouldn't be a problem. I would imagine a 6600K shouldn't be an issue, or really any i5 from any generation. But the FX 6350, that is considerably slower than a 6600K, so that's good news if you are running on an older AMD FX system. 8 gigabytes of RAM is also on the minimum requirement. For graphics from AMD, they're saying a 7850 2GB or a GTX 660 2GB from NVIDIA. So looks like low VRAM counts should at least be able to run the game. We don't know if this is designed, if these specs are designed for 1080p, 60 FPS, what settings and all that. Usually recommended is targeting 1080p high. So I'm assuming this is probably on the lower end, maybe a little bit lower resolution, and somewhere around there, maybe getting 1080p, 30 FPS, but time will tell. We'll have to test this game, obviously, when it comes out. We'll do a performance review as soon as it releases and everything. So yeah, this is good to see, though. I'm optimistic that Battlefield 5 will run pretty well, as, like I said, previous games from DICE usually are pretty well optimized on their Frostbite engine. I've never had an issue really with the performance on those games. They always scale really well. That's kind of the main thing. I mean, you might be on older hardware, you might not be able to run it, but the point is that it's scalable. You could be running a GTX 1080, you get what you should get for 1080 performance, and vice versa, going down lower or higher, it's going to scale pretty damn well to whatever hardware you happen to be running, and not really be choked on something because it's AMD or NVIDIA or one way or the other. It seems to be optimized pretty well for both sides. But I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. I'm going to be working the rest of the day on the review for the Acer Predator X34P. That's an ultra-wide 120Hz IPS monitor with G-Sync and all of that. That review will be going out to your sub-feeds tomorrow afternoon sometime, so be sure that you are subscribed for that content. If you want to know the moment that it goes live, you can always hit the notification bell. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like on it down below, as that always helps to support the channel. Leave a comment so we can discuss. Let me know, are you excited about the Helios 500 laptop running Ryzen with Vega graphics? Let's discuss as always, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another video. Ta-ra.